Oh boy, it's only been a minute and everybody's growling. Hi guys. Hi. Hi there. Welcome to Snacks and Stacks. Today we're going to do my November reading wrap up, and for the most part, you might hear some noises because I'm downstairs. I'm relocating a couple of my shelves up into my office. So my office is a bit messy right now, and it's technically not the end of November. I still have 2 days to read, and I'm so close to finishing Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. And I wanted to finish that, but honestly, this is the only time I have to record. So we're going to go with what we have and just roll with it. Let's go into the books. I read so far 10 books this month, and I read 7 of them on audio and 3 in print. My rating overview was 4 3 stars, 2 3.5 stars, 1 4-star, and 3 4.5 stars. So unfortunately, no 5-star books this month. My reading this month was pretty average, just in general because of the books I picked up and also my expectations when I pick up certain genres. If you're a regular around here, which is pretty crazy to say, you would know that I normally only talk about my favorite books of the reading month. But since I had so many that were just average, I'm going to just go through them really quick and give you like a quick little what they're about and why I gave them more of an average rating. So the Rebel Blue Ranch series, I read book 1 and 2, Done and Dusted and Swift and Saddled. And these are cowboy romances. They do have spice in them, and they kind of revolve around the Ryder family. In the first book, I guess romance tropes would be brother's best friend, and they are also like in a very small town. And then for the second book, it would be kind of like a boss and worker situation, or a workplace romance, but the workplace doesn't really, it's not like your typical office or something. It's one of the houses on the ranch that the writers own is getting revamped or renovated, and the interior designer for that and the lead of the project of the Ryder family, they are the one that are in the relationship or trying. And there are also mental health disorders representation in both of the books, which I think were done at a very surface level, which can be a good thing or a bad thing depending on what you are looking for when you see those representations in books. In book 1, the main character has ADHD, and I think she describes it in a way that is realistic and easy, or not easy, and relatable, but I don't think it was like part of the story really, which is fine. Honestly, I didn't have a problem with that. It just felt very surface level. The mental health disorders is really just a part of who they are. It's not exactly like what the story is about, which I personally thought was really nice. In the second book, one of the main characters has depression. Like, again, it's not a plot point in the book or anything. It's just a part of the character and who they are. The next book that kind of got just a 3-star from me is Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaghy. I think this is a very unpopular opinion, but I'm not a big fan of thrillers, and this was kind of like a climate fiction with a thriller type vibe. Like, there's like all this big mystery surrounding the people on this isolated island, but I just felt like the characters acted kind of dumb. And obviously these characters are traumatized by their own things, and so there are reasons. I just don't know if I really cared for that story. But the plot of it is this woman washes ashore this isolated island that is being taken care of by this man and their family. His name is Dominic, and he has 2 sons and 1 daughter, and they all live there and take care of the island. This is an island between Australia and Antarctica, and it's mainly done for research with a seed bank. This island is sinking, and so I think they are being told to evacuate. And yeah, we don't know who this woman is in the beginning, how she got there. And so there's a lot of mystery between this woman, this family that's there. You can obviously tell there's a lot of tension and weirdness on this island. And I think that is probably best to know as little as possible before you go into the story. And my last 3-star book was The 13th Child. This was a bit of a disappointment as I really enjoyed House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin A. Cray, same author. This is about a girl who was the 13th child of her family, and basically the family was very poor, and somehow all these gods came and was like, I'll take your kid, and the dad had refused, and then all of a sudden the god of death comes, and they say yes to him for some reason. And so this book is about having the god of death as your father figure, what that means for you. There's a lot of abandonment being explored in this. Grief and parent and children relationships are being explored in this, as well as morality, what is right, what is wrong. She gets a special gift, and this is like her life story. It's quite long. The reason why it's a 3-star for me is because I came into this hoping for like dark, eerie atmosphere, and there's definitely some dark and eerie things, but it's very inconsistent, and some of it was very long. I think I could have used better editing because the story itself is quite good, and the overall like arc of the story is interesting, but near the end it almost felt like the author was tired of writing it and she was just like, this is how I'm gonna wrap it up. And so I don't know, I felt like it could have been better. The romance in this was a bit better than the House of Salt and Sorrows, but I just felt like this book was I don't know. That is why it got 3 stars. My 3.5 stars. One is part of a series that I later very much like, so we're going to talk about that series together in a little bit. But we'll talk about Can't Get Enough. This is Skyland number 3. This is Hendrix's story. We have Hendrix, who is a talent manager and also a venture capitalist. She and Maverick forms a relationship through friendship first, which is very nice. And there's the conflict is that Maverick was the ex of a woman that Hendrix is producing a TV show with, and she doesn't want any issues with that. And so they start off as just friends because of this. Hello. Another main theme and plot point in this book is also that Hendrix's mom is going through Alzheimer's, and one of the things that she has to navigate is that situation. Is that who's going to take care of her mom, where is her mom going to live, and how to kind of preserve that life. What I thought that book did well was the story with Alzheimer's and kind of the feelings and emotions and how complicated that disease is and how it impacts families and what it means for them, and also like what it means for the person who has it. I think that was done so beautifully. The romance was done pretty well too. I just didn't quite like them. I think part of the gestures were all very like money fronted, which at the I don't know what it was like when I was reading it. I just didn't like the pacing of the book. It just felt very long, and the romance felt very like surface level. Even though they were friends at first, you didn't get like as much of those interactions. And for me, it was like very spice heavy versus the sweet heavy. When I come into romance, I want like good plot, great characters, and I'm not always looking for like deep themes. And so I think it just didn't match my usual romance vibes, but I would still recommend this book and ask you to give it a go, especially if you enjoyed the other two Skyland books. I have to do my 4-star book, The Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. This is by Sangu Mandana. This book is about Sarah Swan. She is one of the most powerful witches in Britain. However, she resurrects her great aunt, and that is illegal magic. And so when she was doing that, she used so much of her magic that she lost a lot of it. Because of this also illegal activity, she is kicked out of the guild, which is the group of magical people. So we jump 15 years into the future, and she's still trying to find ways to gain her magic back. The inn that she and her aunt takes care of, she has this magical spell around it where only the people who needs it will find it, and also like no assholes allowed kind of thing. Interestingly enough, a librarian from the guild finds her in, and they sort of work together to try to restore her magic. This book was very cozy, very sweet. I know for a fact one of my close friends really enjoyed this book. She said she cried multiple times. And I really do think that this book could heal someone, because I can see how parts of this book could really resonate with someone, and just the things they've gone through. And I think it could be like a very healing book. Now, I think the way I read the book, I read it with audio, did me a disservice. I think this book is something that you should read and give your full attention to in order to get the healing powers of it. There's a beautiful found family in this book, and there's a lot of like great lessons to be taken from this for sure. This is very cozy and very whimsical. However, a big part of this book is the romance, and I just found the chemistry a bit lacking. I think it's because there's a lot of other things going on, and it's one of those stories that I wish they didn't push the romance so much, because it really didn't need to be about that at all. I think this book would have been beautiful as just a cozy fantasy with like a very small side plot of a romance blooming. Like, I don't know. And there's like one spice scene in this, which is fine. It just felt really out of place with all the other like very sweet scenes. So yeah, I mean, I gave this a 4. It was so good. And I'm definitely wanting to reread this, but I want to just be able to take my time with it. Smoking Behind a Supermarket with You. This is still very fun. I gave it a 4.5 instead of a 5, just because there's a part in this book where I felt like Sasaki, he's kind of like being a little extra weird. I think it's the part where he like watches her eat. I think that just kind of made me, but I do watch my husband eat. But anyways, it was just getting kind of weird. But I do like it. I think it's supposed to be an extra slow burn, so I'm here for it. And there's definitely clues that they might have met in the past, which I'm not sure if I'm for. That's also a reason why I went down a little, because I'm like, I don't know, it's kind of weird. But still very cute. I have the 3rd book, I just haven't picked it up. And I'm getting them from the library to help save my wallet a little there. Oh, if you're new and you don't know what this is about, it is a slow burn slice of life romance, and there's about a 20-year age gap. There's a big age gap between this man and this girl, and she's basically playing a big trick on him, pretending to be two different people. It's completely harmless. It's very funny, and it makes me very giddy. 4.5 stars, The Great Divide by Cristina Henriquez. This is about the 1900s. Okay, first of all, this was the coolest way, in my opinion, 1907, to tell you the time. It's like a little wanted poster, talks about how it's for Panama, and it just gives you a lot of information in a very interesting way. So kudos to that. 4.5, right there. This takes place in Panama in 1907 when the Panama Canal is being made. I know nothing about the Panama Canal, at least I don't remember anything from school. And so this was a really interesting gateway into what will become some video essays that I'm going to look up for sure. Learning more about the Panama Canal and how it happens and why it happens. It does go into the history briefly, but really it's about 10 point of views. I think there's more than 10. It's just like so many random point of views. And we're just sitting in these point of views as this is happening. So we have the Panama people that we're seeing this from. We're seeing it from a worker. We're seeing it from someone from Barbados. All kinds of people from a United States American. And the reason why I'm being specific about that is because they make it sound like, so this is, Panama is in South America, and they're like, well, we're American. They're like, we're American too, bitch, you know. I think a lot of people think Americans is just United States of America. Americans, when we've kind of just stolen that term because everyone in North America and South America, are they not Americans? Question for you. I thought all the point of views were done so beautifully. I really liked the writing in this. There were some passages where there's like lists of things, and at first I was like, this whole page is just like everything in the grocery store. But I think what it gives me is like such a sense of grounding and of where I am, what I'm looking at, that I haven't been able to really get with other books. My battery's dying. 1 second. And the puppies are back in. Alrighty. The Great Divide. What I loved about it. I loved all the different vignettes. I loved all the ways the writing made me feel like I was really in that setting and really in that time period. I really enjoyed feeling like I was there. I didn't feel very attached to any of the characters, and there were some characters that I liked more than others, but I definitely liked the short chapters. This is a short book as well, which is nice. So when we have a lot of characters and we have a lot of things going on, and they're really just converging to the completion of the Panama Canal. There's not like a big plot point. This was just a very interesting book, just the way it was done, and I liked that it was different, honestly. And I liked how I haven't really had a book where I just felt like I was somewhere in the past and I could like really be there and be like in the shoes of so many different people. It was just really good. It's definitely not a book for everybody. I think it's a really slow-paced book. It's a type of book where you're really just like looking around and trying to explore this time period, this area, and the people who live there and what they may have gone through during this time. And I think we are missing those types of books a lot because we get caught up in the plot or, you know, lovable characters. And then there's a book like this where it's just like so good about the setting and so good about giving you ideas of how these people may have been feeling and how angry some of the Panama people are. It just gives you a sense of what people thought about America at that time. And this whole situation, which is why I think it's a really nice like gateway to learn about the Panama Canal. And now I want to watch some documentaries or video essays about it, and so I can kind of like get a better idea of what happened during that time. There's so much stuff that's happened that we only know like a couple lines in a history book about, that I think we miss out if we don't read books like this. So yeah, I highly recommend this for people who enjoy history and enjoy traveling to other countries, and then also just knowing more about a time period and how it might have looked and felt like. So, The Great Divide. And now, the series that has got me in a chokehold, and I can't believe I'm not reading the third book right now because I got it. I have the audiobook in the Libby app, and I have the physical book. It came that I want to be good about finishing my other books, but all I can think about is reading this third book. It is the Everflame series, the Kindred Curses saga. This is a 4-book series. Book 4 should be coming out next summer, and yes, I will be in line, I believe, for that. I don't see me not. But let's talk about the point of this book. This is a slow burn romantasy, at least that's what I was told, but I think it's actually a lot more about a political fantasy. We have the Descended and the Mortals. The Descended are people who are half god, half mortal, and they come from the line of gods. They have powers, and the mortals, if we talk about classism, they are the poor people. They are the ones of the lower class. This is a fantasy book that explores and talks about classism between two different types of people. We have magical powers. We have a bit of a revolution going on, or a rebel group, I should say. And we have our main character, DM, who is, funny enough, my cousin's name. So every time I imagine her, but she does not look like the girl that's supposed to be in this book. But anyways, the DM is from the mortal world with her mortal mom, who's a healer. She doesn't know who her dad is, and her stepdad is a mortal captain that is revered by mortals and Descended alike. I think that's all you really need to know in order to start this series. And I think you should. The first book is a little slow at some points because I think it's like a lot of introduction. It actually doesn't introduce the world super well. I gave the first book a 3.5. I wasn't sure. Chelsea from Libraries and Lattes was like, this is my new favorite romantasy. And I was like, oh man, romantasy might just not be my thing. And then like the last little bit of the first book, I was hooked. There's some stuff going on. And then I needed to know what was going to happen. Oh, another main plot point is that her mom goes missing. And then the second book is like so much better. We get so much more magic. We get the relationship that we want, at least the one I want, to be going on and maturing, and the Luther is amazing. We get to find out more about the Descended and how their world is, which is very interesting. And so, yes, this got a 4.5 because of so much better. The world building was amazing, and I wanted to know what was going to happen. I've seen that some people don't like the main character as much, but I don't have a problem with her. What does that mean for me? But I felt like her choices were valid, except in some areas. But yes, I would love to do like more of a talk through about this series. So let me know if you're interested. So that would be all of the books that I read in November as of now. Have you read any of these? Will you read any of these? Have I kind of charmed you to any of these? Yeah, let me know what you think. Happy reading, happy snacking, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.